Hello and welcome to Bible Study with Alice, and today we're on day 24, Proverbs 24 of our daily Proverbs reading. We're reading from the ESV translation, but you're more than welcome to join us from a different translation. As you can see, we are on Proverbs 24. These videos are filmed in real time. Today's date is the 24th of April 25 and it's a Thursday. You can find the previous 23 Proverbs in the playlist below. There is a disclaimer as usual, and that is one of these videos are unedited and also I'll probably stumble my wording. Let's get started. Be not envious of evil men, nor desire to be with them, for their hearts devise violence, and their lips talk of trouble. By wisdom a house is built, and by understanding it is established. By knowledge the rooms are filled. With all precious and pleasant riches, a wise man is full of strength, and a man of knowledge enhances his might. For by wise guidance you can wage your war, and in abundance of counselors there is victory. 7. Wisdom is too high for a fool. In the gates he does not open his mouth. Whoever plans to do evil will be called a schemer or scammer. The devising of a folly is a sin, and the scoffers is abomination to mankind. If you faint in the day of adversity, your strength is small. Rescue those who have been taken away to death. Hold back those who are stumbling to the slaughter. If you say, behold, we did not know this, does not he who weighs the heart perceive it? Does not he keep watch over your soul know it? And will not repay man according to his work? My son, eat honey, for it is good, and the drippings of the honey and the sweet to it taste. Know that wisdom is such to your soul. If you find it, there will be a future, and hope will not be cut off. Lie not in wait as wicked man against the dwelling of the righteous. Do no violence to his home, for the righteous falls 7 times and rises again, but the wicked stumbled in times of calamity. Do not rejoice when your enemy falls, and let not your heart be glad when he stumbles. 18. Lest the Lord see it and Lest the Lord see it and be displeased, and turn away his anger from him. Fret not yourself because of evildoers, and be not envious of the wicked, for the evil man has no future. The lamp of the wicked will be put out. My son, fear the Lord and the King, and do not join with those who do otherwise. For disaster will arise suddenly from them, and who knows the ruin that will come from them both. More sayings of the wise. 23. These also are saying of the wise. Partly in judging is not good. Whoever says to the wicked, you are in the right, you will be cursed by people, adored by nations. But those who rebuke the wicked will have delight, and a good blessing will come upon them. Whoever gives an honest answer kisses the lips. Prepare your work outside. Get everything ready for yourself in the field, and after that build your house. Be not witness against your neighbour without cause, and do not deceive your lips. Do not say, I will do to him as he has done to me. I will pay the man back for what he has done. I passed by the field of the sluggard, by the vineyard of a man lacking sense, and behold, it was all overgrown with thorns. The ground was covered with nettles, and its stone wall was broken down. Then I saw and considered it. I looked and received instruction, a little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to rest, and poverty will come upon you like a robber, and want like an armed man. Well, we eventually got there. I have to admit I was struggling a bit there. So that is 24 complete, and tomorrow we will be doing 25. So here we go. So with 24, the historians and scholars believe it to be King Solomon who had wrote it, but they are slightly unsure though. But there's a strong indication that it was King Solomon who wrote it. I know obviously I mentioned in Proverbs 23 that it was written during King Solomon's reign, but it could have been another person who wrote it. But with Proverbs 24, historians and scholars believe it to be King Solomon who had wrote it, but there's still that uncertainty that it might not have been him who had wrote Proverbs 24. But we don't fully 100% sure. But they aren't fully 100% on it, but it's a strong indication that it would have been him who had wrote 24. So 24 is the importance of wisdom and integrity in building a successful life and community. So with this, I guess it's quite self-explanatory. So you want to build a successful life and a successful community. Now, I know, I guess it depends on where you live. If you have a good community backing, I know there are a lot of areas where the community is not there anymore. The community is very much broken, especially in recent times. Now, if you went back to something like the 50s and 60s, probably before then, there was very much a community life. I mean, excluding World War II, obviously we take World War II out of that because that's completely irrelevant because obviously that did happen in the United Kingdom, and bigger cities did get destroyed, and the smaller communities obviously did take in people to live in the countryside so they could protect them, especially when it came to children. But so we take out the war aspect of it. So 50s, 60s, 20s, part of the 30s until the war, you would find there was a lot of community backing. People were very much for the community. They would do so much for the community, and as the years went by, as it came further forward to like now time, that community spirit has in some aspects been lost, and it's down to obviously people like keeping themselves to themselves. You do find it is more of the people from, I'm not saying anybody's still alive from the 20s because they've been in their 90s, but people from like the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s very much our community. I say early part of the 60s, so like early end, so like 1960, which is like 65. So it definitely would be in the top end of the 60s. So like 93, 93, 94, 90, 63, 64, 65 sort of thing would be the top end of the 60s, where they would still be very much for the community. It's as obviously as the later part of the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and then obviously into the noughties and stuff. They're not very much community driven. I don't know why. I mean, I was brought up not in a community spirit led area. I can't really comment on why we never had that community thing. I mean, my parents have friends who lived in the local community that we would interact with, but everybody else we didn't really interact with. But I don't know, I can't answer that. I just generally don't know why we didn't. But there's a big chunk of people from, as I said, from the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, early 60s. They were very much will keep the community going, because where I live, in the community that I live in, I mean, I'm not really, as I said, I have experienced it when I was a child, but there are people who do community things, are very much for the community, very much for like having things on, running throughout the community, having parties and stuff. So the community aspect of things where I live is there, but it is the older generation. I could definitely say it's not the younger generation. Most definitely say it's not. But it is more the older generation that are keeping the community going. So with Proverbs 24, because obviously it's just talking about community as a whole, to build a successful life and a community, you know, you do need to have that wisdom and integrity to be able to build that successful life and community. I mean, as I said, I never experienced it because I lived in an area that wasn't very much of that. I'm not saying areas where I was from when I was a child wasn't very much community driven. I just happened to live in an area that wasn't community driven, but it doesn't mean that you can't be. And as I said, where I live currently, it is very much community driven, but it is community driven by the older generations, not the younger generations. Now, I'm not saying the younger generations don't want to, just don't really know what their thoughts and ideas of the community would be, what they would like the community to be like. I mean, there are people a lot younger than me living in my local area, so I don't actually know what their ideas on the community would be. But to build that life and that community, you do need to find that wisdom and integrity to be able to build on that, because once you be able to build on it, you can do lots of things with it. I mean, I guess you could say the older generation are more focused on the church, because where I live, we do have a church. I don't attend this church, I have to say. I've never actually been inside the church, in all fairness, and I really do want to. But every time I walk past it, it's always shut. And I walk on the churchyard with my dog, so it's always seems to be shut. So I probably do go around it on the wrong time. But I do think the older generation in the area that I live in are more in relation to the church. They do attend church on a Sunday. I mean, because I live in a rural location, they do, the local vicar covers a couple of churches, so they do their services on a rotational basis. So the church that's in my village, like area, community, I do live in a village, if I'm honest, but if they are, you know, they do it on like a rotational basis. So one Sunday they'll do it in my village, then another Sunday they'll do it in the next village, and then the third Sunday they'll do it in the third village, and then it rotates back to my village. That seems how I've noticed they rotate on, because obviously having the same vicar. But these people obviously, you know, go to church and, you know, gain wisdom and integrity in building that successful community. Because I'm not saying it's a bad community, because I quite like the community I live in. There is lots of things go on. It's just, as I said, I wasn't brought up with it. So it is a bit of a culture shock when you come into a village where it's community driven to you not having that. And in previous places I lived beforehand, it wasn't very much community driven. So to be able to build that successful life, you do need to have that community, and to have that successful life and community, you do need to have that wisdom and integrity, and it is important to have that. So I will write in the day and date. On day 24. On the 24th of the 4th to 5. So thank you for watching. please like my content, please subscribe to my channel. I'd really appreciate if you could do that, and please turn on the notification bell so you then get notified of content like this that gets uploaded to the channel. Thank you and goodbye.